Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Kevin with Optimized Essentials, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how your posture affects your breathing and how your breathing affects your posture. Now, please listen very closely. I cannot emphasize how important this relationship is and what it will do to the rest of your body, all right? If you are not breathing properly, it will wreak havoc on your energy systems and it will destroy your posture, all right? It's a cyclic relationship between posture and breathing that will keep going back and forth until you figure out how to break that connection, break that pattern, and restore optimal breathing, optimal posture to your body. Otherwise, you're gonna be in a series of stress, emotional distress, anxiety, hyperventilation, always feeling like you are under attack or something, okay? So in today's video, I'm gonna be discussing the influence between breathing, improper breathing, breathing dysfunction, breathing disorders, and how that influences your posture. And in my other video, which I'm going to be discussing in Achieving Optimum Health, I'm going to talk to you more about the dangers and symptoms of it, why it occurs, and then finally, how you can improve your breathing and your posture at the same time so that you can have more of a deep, peaceful, equilibrium, at ease state of mind so that you're more ready, more present, and more posed to attack this world or to respond to your demands, okay? So that's gonna be the other video. This video is mainly gonna be about posture and breathing, okay? So listen up closely. Let's talk about breathing first, okay? When you are not breathing properly, think about what is going on, okay? If you are breathing very shallowly, these people are often known as chest breathers, shallow breathers, hyperventilators, all right? The reason being is because we are using our chest and our neck muscles, which are the accessory muscles, not the primary. The primary is the diaphragm. When these muscles are being overloaded or being used too often, being recruited too often because they are the accessory, right? They help basically supplement the primary muscle, which is your diaphragm, in breathing. But if your diaphragm isn't working properly because you're sitting too much, your posture is kyphotic. You have the compression of your rib cage, your shoulders are slumped forward, your spine is rounded forward, and the rib cage is stuck or your abdominals are too tight. What ends up happening is that pretty much compresses and shuts down your diaphragm so that when you breathe, you're a chest breather, and everything in your neck, your scalenes, your sternocleidomastoid, your upper trapezius, your levator scapula, and your chest muscles, all of these act as a secondary and accessory respiratory muscle. So when these muscles get overloaded and get overworked, what ends up happening is you develop excessive tonicity, which is tightness, right? They become excessively tonic, and these muscles tighten up. Do you see that? They tighten up to help you bring oxygen into your lungs. But if your breathing is proper, what should happen is your diaphragm pulls, right? It creates an intra-abdominal pressure. It pulls down, and then it expands your belly so that your lungs could fill up with air. That's why, if you've probably heard before, the belly of babies, when they breathe with their abdominals, what ends up happening is you can watch that expansion of the belly and then relaxation, right? So it expands when they inhale and then it goes back to normal when they breathe, okay? So what does all this have to do with posture? What does this have to do with, what's going on? When you're sitting excessively, what ends up happening is you're sitting and you're slouching and you're slightly compressing that diaphragm. And when you do that over and over and over again, meaning you sit for your job, you're excessively sedentary, you're sitting for school, you're sitting for work, you're sitting for at home, pretty much the rest of your day, you're pretty much closing off and you're shutting down the primary muscle that is responsible for breathing, which is your diaphragm, and you're recruiting your accessory, your secondary respiratory muscles, which is your chest, your pec minor, your pec major, your scalenes, your SEM, your upper traps, to help expand your rib cage. And over time, when you don't properly open your chest cavity, open up your thorax, and you get stuck in that position and your breathing is very shallow, you're hyperventilating, what ends up happening is you start to experience a lot of anxiety, right? Because that response, that hyperventilation, excites your sympathetic nervous system, and your body constantly thinks it's in a fight or flight mode, meaning it's ready to, stress response. It's constantly in that stress mode because your body is breathing really quickly. And that rapid breathing, that shallow hyperventilation, is associated with your body as that flight or flight stress response, okay? And not just that, but what ends up happening is you start to experience a lot of upper back pain, like in your neck, in the upper back, because the traps is overworking too much. Your middle back, your lower traps, mid traps, and rhomboids, because those aren't working enough, when they're not strong enough and you're rounding forward, everything in your mid and upper back starts to get excessively pulled on. Because if this is tight in the front and it's pulling you forward, the back muscles are constantly overstretched and overworking to reverse that. But because they're so weak and they're constantly being pulled forward, it feels like you always have mid-back pain. But a lot of it is just because the front of your body, the chest, the upper abdominals, right, the neck, all of that is constricting and contracting to overstretch the muscles in the back, which is why you're experiencing upper back pain, okay? And then this often leads to forward head posture, where if you keep breathing like this, your head eventually starts to go forward because the neck muscles overwork, the chest muscles overwork, and they pull everything down and forward, okay? And then this also, exacerbates every other condition within your body. Because if your head starts to go forward, your shoulders will start to compensate and round, your spinal round, your hips might begin to bail forward, and then you look like you have very poor posture like this, all right? If you look around, a lot of people look like this. Or you have a really big belly, which drags your body forward more, and your body goes into kyphosis even more, your head jumps forwards even more. And if you see a lot of people walking around, that's what they look like, right? They have a really big pooch belly, they're dragged down here, and it puts a lot of strain in the neck. Because think about it. When your head is forward, what basically is going on is it's straining every muscle group here because they're excessively tight, and it's your body is trying to get itself to go back up, but it can't. So that constant bowling ball, right, that's going forward, each inch that was forward adds about another 10 or 12 pounds of stress on the rest of your spine, which is why you have aches and pain everywhere. So just to wrap this up and to explain to you the mechanism behind how posture affects your breathing, how breathing affects your posture, if you're not breathing deep enough, right? If your abdominals are tight and your chest cavity, your thorax is tight and it's compressing your diaphragm, your breathing becomes very shallow and you hyperventilate and you recruit accessory secondary respiratory muscle groups, which is the chest and the neck. And when the chest and the neck get tight, what ends up happening is you develop that kyphotic position, the forward head posture, the rounded shoulders. And if you don't fix your breathing, or if you don't fix your body, that vicious cyclic relationship is going to keep compounding over and over again. You'll experience more anxiety, you'll experience more stress, you'll have worse and worse posture, your breathing will be worse and worse, and that'll just keep going on and on and on and on until you snap out of it and figure out how to open up, expand, and instead of contract and restrict. Does it make sense? So I hope you understand the consequences of not breathing properly and how that influences your posture. In the next videos, I'm going to be discussing, right, all the dangers, the symptoms of not breathing properly, why it occurs, not just because we're sitting too much, and then finally, how we can fix this through mobilization of your thoracic spine, opening up your chest, how to do certain exercises to train your abdominals to breathe again, or how to breathe with your abdominals and your diaphragm, how to wake it back up. So make sure you watch that video. It's going to be quite long and extensive, but you know, if you're watching this far, there's a very good chance that you value education, and I am going to give it to you guys. So make sure you watch that video. Have a good one. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and make sure you share it with a friend and subscribe for more, okay? Peace.